went on, I thought, could Manchester did they really have did Haaland really have a goal scoring opportunity there? And the answer
It's
is
a good
no.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the answer
good
is no.
question.
It was going
Yeah,
away from goal, like you said. So I quite agree with
yeah.
that. Now, that doesn't take anything away from the performance of Dean Henderson. He was spectacular.
He
I,
was
I, I,
amazing.
I would say he's the man of the match there. All right. So,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you make of the penalty? That
Well,
was a
yeah. As I've already said, I don't necessarily think it was a bit of a soft penalty, put it that way.
yeah,
But what did surprise everybody, including me, was Haaland. He had the ball, he kissed it, which is often what he does before taking it, and then he
yeah,
gave it to Marmoush.
yeah,
And that kind of didn't make sense. I mean, afterwards, when they interviewed a pretty miserable Pep Guardiola, they said, "Well, did you know he was going to do that?" He said, "No, they decide amongst themselves," which I
yeah,
don't think anybody really believes. I think Guardiola would have thought that Haaland was the penalty taker. He's never scored in a cup final. He's scored all these goals. He's at Wembley, the sort of home of football, and he
yeah,
gives the ball away because it's like he
yeah,
bottled it a bit. He obviously just didn't, because he's missed one or two recently, and
yeah,
maybe he just didn't have the nerve. And the interesting thing was what Dean Henderson said afterwards. He said, if Haaland had taken it, he said, I wouldn't really have had a clue which way he was going to kick the ball, which way he would go.
yeah,
He said, but with Marmoush, he said, I instantly knew I would save it. Well, that's confidence for you. He said, because
yeah,
I knew which way he would go. They obviously study the way penalty takers take their penalties. And he said he knew it would go there. And it was a brilliant save. I mean, he just went, because it was well kicked, it was kicked hard,
it
but
was.
he did a brilliant save. So I agree with you. Although Munoz, who's a wonderful Colombian player of ours, our right wing back, super
Yeah,
player, so much energy, although he was given the man of the match award, I would think, and a lot of people said it, really, Henderson gave one of the most amazingly brilliant
yeah,
goalkeeping displays in a cup final.
yeah,
It really was amazing.
it was.
Um,
It
got rid of
was.
that. So yeah, he was brilliant. Just
It
to
was.
take that a bit further,
Right.
the only thing that disappointed me on the day, because let me say first, I mean, as you can imagine, that the tension amongst Palace supporters being 1-0 up with that excellent goal, and then thinking we'd scored a second one, but it
Yeah.
was offside in the event.
Yeah.
Of course, the saving of the penalty, we all erupted again because it's like scoring a goal. You
It
save a
is.
penalty
It
and
is.
you
Yeah.
say, it's like scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Um, but as the game went on, you start to think we need a second goal because City are City. They've got such great goal scorers and all the rest of it. But of course, it got to the 90 minutes and then to find there was 10 more minutes, which I
Yeah.
think was justified. I mean, Mark Gay had been down with concussion and he couldn't see out of his eye
He
afterwards.
couldn't. He couldn't really. Yeah.
Also, Adam Wharton was down, and plus all the substitutions. So 10 minutes was probably right. But I can only say we could see that they had another shot. I think it might have been De Bruyne near the
Yeah.
end, and it went off, and there was like 10 seconds left, and you sensed amongst all of us Palace fans that whole end of the ground or
Yeah.
sides round all round horseshoe sort of thing. You just knew the minute Henderson kicked the ball out, the whistle was going to go, and
Yeah.
you can imagine what it was like, and I would have done before the match. I've never seen or felt anything like it. It was an absolute explosion of, well, joy can be the only words. I mean, it just shows you what humans can be like. We talked about that in our previous podcast, but
Yeah.
as well as hugging, great big groups hugs of all of you. I mean, there's about 12 of us go to these games.
Yeah.
Um, each other and all in a group and people taking people taking selfies, and all of that was not so much when this was happening. But also
Yeah.
then you sort of turn around, so many people are crying. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that there were tears coming down my face. And not just that, but you feel yourself beginning to sort of blub a bit. And there's no, when you look around, and I think there were more men than women, but everybody was sort of crying. And to talk about tears of joy,
Yeah.
it was an incredible feeling. You can only imagine how the players felt who actually won the game. But I mean, we stayed there probably for a good couple of hours afterwards when the cup and the medals were presented.
Yeah.
But it was that explosion of joy. And even people behind you didn't know, you turn around and they sort of grab you and you find you're being hugged and you hug someone else you'd never met before. Even eventually, 2 or 3 hours later, walking back to our car,
Yeah.
along the way, people come up to you and they say, "Oh, well done, mate," and all this. And you see a side of human nature which perhaps we don't often see. And you could say it's a pity, but then I suppose, you can't, life can't just be like that. You can't just,
No.
get on a train and start hugging everybody. They probably think you're completely odd, as you would be, I guess. But
Yeah.
there is, I suppose, in public for all of us, a certain reserve, reticence. We don't ever want to show anything of ourselves apart from our travel face or whatever, poker face, etc. But to
Yeah.
see human beings and be part of it unload a mass of joyful emotion,
Yeah.
and you can't describe it. It was
Yeah.
for me. I mean, I've supported Palace for years, and and for everybody, I think, even those who were at Palace in the 1800s, 1868, or when it was formed, this was the best day ever for that football club.
It was.
And it was incredible because last night Palace won again. We beat Wolves last night 4-2, so that was a good. And we got one last game on Sunday. I'm going up to Liverpool, so that's the and just diversion a bit. I was reading this morning that Liverpool are the only team that having been confirmed as winning the Premier League,
Yeah.
have then not won another game, which so far they haven't.
They haven't actually. Yeah.
No, they may beat Palace on Sunday. One other point I wanted to say about Dean Henderson, which I thought was a shame, because Pep Guardiola, we talk about him sometimes, probably acknowledged by most as one of the best, if not the best, football managers internationally and so on, and a credit to the game. He produces great teams with great players. But
Yeah.
I was a bit disappointed in him, having always been a big fan of his afterwards, because as he came onto the pitch when the whistle